We're looking at the model RCP 8511-A-5 automatic tube expanding unit. This unit operates by expanding tubes with segmented dies. We're looking at the reservoir and the motor. Right here we see there's a filter, the return filter, electric motor. Here on this side we're looking at the reservoir gauge, the oil fill cap. Here's the pump. You'll notice that there's an arrow on the pump, and this will tell you the direction of the motor in order for the pump to operate efficiently and properly. Here's a solenoid valve mounted on a subplate. And over here on this side we have a view of the relief valve. This valve is used to adjust the pressure of the machine or the pump. The unit will generate up to 3,000 psi. It has a 5-inch bore cylinder that'll generate up to 30 tons of forming forces. Below here we're looking at a transformer. This particular unit is going to Denmark. It'll be working on 380 volts. We have the starter. Now here we're looking at the foot pedal. This foot pedal here will activate the automatic cycle. By depressing it, it'll cause the cylinder to advance and retract. This is done with timing set on the PLC system. You'll notice here that the tooling is screwed onto an inside screw, and the tooling is mounted on a retainer. This particular inside screw has 6 threads per inch, which will allow for some fine adjustment with the minimal turns of the retainer. The way the forming is controlled is by the timer and the PLC system. We set a time value going forward and a time value going backwards. We'll demonstrate this here shortly. Now here we're looking at the control panel, and this switch we're looking at is to manually advance and retract the cylinder. To the right it goes forward, and to the left it's going to go reverse. And here's an emergency stop. If you want to cut the power, just hit the red button and the power will stop. Now we're inside the control box, and you can see here that there's a PLC system. And you'll notice that there's some arrows up and arrows down. There's some arrows going crosswise. All of this is explained in the service manual. There are 2 timers on this PLC system. One timer is used to advance the cylinder. The other timer is used to retract the cylinder. This is very critical in the forming cycle. In fact, it is the... Okay, now we're looking at the pressure relief valve, and this is the valve, as I said earlier, sets the system pressure for the hydraulic cylinder. Now, we're going to go through a little exercise here, and we're going to set the pressure. So he'll take his wrench and break that loose, go counterclockwise, and then he'll go in with his Allen wrench and turn the inside screw clockwise, which will increase the pressure for him. Once you establish what the pressure is, you take your wrench and you tighten up the lock nut and you leave it in that position. After you do your setting there in the pressure, you take your you come up here to the panel, if I can find it. and then he'll go ahead and use a manual switch to get it off. And that's where your pressure is set at now, for your system pressure. Okay, now we're going to give a demonstration here. When he's using the control panel there on the switch, he'll advance the arbor forward. This is being done manually. Now he can retract it and stop at that position. When I say stop, what I'm going to do is give a little demonstration here on how we set the arbor. So he'll advance the arbor out to the very end. And that's a full stroke. Looking at the PLC system, he's going to point to all the 4 buttons that are on the panel. Now the one on the right there is the one that will tell you timer 1 or timer 0. And then the second on the left there, that is the up, setting the time, increasing the time. Now the next one over is decreasing the time. And then the last button on the end there will allow you to give a higher value in terms of setting the time, because the timing is set in milliseconds. So you can set this here, so you can set it in tenths, hundredths, or thousands. 1,000th is 1 second. To give you an idea here on how you set the arbor for forming. The fact that on this process here, the tooling is positioned on the screw assembly that you see right there, so that all the forming that's taking place is that when the cylinder extends and the arbor goes all the way out and stops and comes back and stops. Now what he's going to do is, we're going to give you an example here of setting the time. Once you set the time inside the PLC system, now he's going to advance the cylinder all the way, or the arbor all the way to the end. Now you hear it is bottomed out. Now he's going to retract it maybe an inch or so. Now he'll go to the foot pedal and he'll start cycling it. Now that what you see right there is your forming stroke. By doing this way, you're saving the time of the arbor having to go all the way back to its original position, because this cylinder has like about a 6-inch stroke. So now you're only using maybe 1-inch stroke of it to do your forming. This will be illustrated service manual. We're going to set up the tooling. The first thing he'll do is he advances the arbor all the way out. Okay, he leaves it in that position. Now he's going to install the tooling. And he'll screw it all the way in, all the way into the end, because you know that the arbor is stroked out all the way. Okay, now he can stop. What he's done is he has, with the arbor extended, he has screwed the tooling inward until he starts to notice that the segments start expanding. Now you're ready to set it to where you want, and there he stops. Now he's going to keep going in until the segment expands, until the desired expansion you want on the tube. And a good way to measure this is like with the vernier. So we don't know where we're at now, but we'll take a measurement. I'm going to take a measurement with his vernier and see what kind of a diameter he has on a segment set. The fact is that we're going to be doing a 4-inch tubing. Let's say it's 16th or 2-millimeter wall will expand enough so that it can slip over the OD of that tube, because you're opening the ID to slip over the OD. Now what we'll do is we'll get a tube and insert it in there, but we'll set the arbor for the stroke first. Now that we've manually screwed the tooling into the retainer there, onto the threaded portion of the system, we're going to manually retract the cylinder. Now he'll put a tube in there and he's ready to start forming. That's it. There you see, just 2 strokes, take maybe 1.5, 2 seconds. Okay, now you can see the kind of a fit he's got on it. And you can adjust it within just a few thousandths or very few millimeters to get to the size you want. And to make it sloppier, of course, you're going to screw the tooling on the threaded portion. The more you screw it in, the bigger diameter you're going to get. Now we're going to screw it in some more and see how high we can go with this tooling. We're going to try to expand this tube even larger, and we'll see how it comes out. Go ahead and run it on. Now we'll compare it, see how much we opened it up, and you can see how sloppy it is there. Now the purpose of this is to try to get this over to in 1/2 inch increments. So we're going to try to keep going here to see how far it goes without cracking. Looking at a tube now, we went through about 4 or 5 cycles here to get this. We've gone a 1/2 inch over its original diameter, and you can see what a pretty nice expansion we have there. Turn it towards me a little bit, Ron. There you go. There you go. Now, the one issue here with this is that you can see how far these segments are expanded. So the further they expand, they're going to have an effect to create kind of an octagon shape. So you have to rotate the tube and hit it more often when you start getting bigger. But there it is right there. You got to do it in stages, because if you tried it in one hit, you would probably crack the weld on the tube. Okay, now let's just take a final look at the machine here. I hope we've been able to demonstrate the versatility of this particular tooling to expand tubing beyond its normal requirements. And here we see all of the tooling in a little rack here.